What is up, dog lovers? Welcome back to Canine Dog Talk, the place where we break down what's really going on inside your dog's brain, their biological superpowers, and how the deep bond between humans and canines can literally save lives. Today, we're diving into a topic that goes way beyond standard obedience, basic trick training, or cute belly rubs. We're talking about the life-altering biosensory powerhouse world of service dogs. Look, right now, somewhere in the world, a dog is sniffing out a spike in human blood sugar minutes before a medical monitor even registers a drop. Right now, a dog is stepping between their handler and a massive, crowded room, creating a physical safety perimeter before a severe panic attack strikes. Right now, a canine is detecting the microscopic chemical shifts of adrenaline and cortisol emitting from a human body during an invisible PTSD flashback, waking their owner up from a night terror, or bracing a person whose physical equilibrium is completely failing.
Have you ever wondered what actually makes these animals capable of doing tasks that multi-million-dollar medical machinery struggles to replicate? Is it just intensive obedience? Or is there something fundamentally encoded inside canine psychology, sense science, and neurobiology that turns a four-legged companion into a literal living, breathing biomedical life support system? If you've ever wondered whether getting a service dog is the right path for you or someone you love, or if you just want to understand the mind-blowing science of what these working dogs are truly doing beneath that vest, you are in the exact right place. We aren't just talking about pets with jobs. We are breaking down the hard canine psychology, the neurological rewiring, the olfactory detection mechanics, and the undeniable real-world reasons why having a service dog is one of the most powerful decisions a human being can make. Grab your coffee, lock in, and let's get right into the breakdown. To truly appreciate why someone needs or benefits from a service dog, we first have to step inside the mind and sensory system of the canine. Most people see a dog walking calmly down a grocery store aisle wearing a red vest and think, wow, that dog is so well trained. But standard training is only 20% of the equation. The remaining 80% comes down to harnessing evolutionary biology, scent mechanics, and deeply rooted canine drive. Let's talk about the canine nose first, because this is the foundational bedrock of medical alert service dogs. While humans have roughly 5 million scent receptors in our nasal cavity, a dog possesses anywhere from 220 million to upwards of 300 million olfactory receptors, depending on the breed. Beyond sheer numbers, the area of a dog's brain devoted to analyzing odors is nearly 40 times larger than ours. When you walk into a bakery, you smell chocolate chip cookies. When a service dog walks into that same bakery, they smell the flour, the white sugar, the brown sugar, the Madagascar vanilla extract, the exact brand of butter, and the individual skin cells shed by the baker who made them. Now, take that astronomical olfactory power and apply it to human biochemistry. When a human experiences stress, blood sugar fluctuation, cardiac distress, or neurological electrical shifts, our body secretes microscopic volatile organic compounds, commonly known as VOCs, through our sweat, breath, and skin. We cannot smell it. Doctors cannot smell it. But to a properly conditioned service dog, a biological shift in human VOCs smells as obvious and loud as a fire siren blaring in a silent room. From a dog psychology standpoint, working dogs are driven by what animal behavioral scientists call cooperative task fulfillment. Dogs are fundamentally pack-oriented, co-evolved animals. For thousands of years, humans and dogs built a symbiotic relationship based on mutual survival. When a service dog is trained to respond to human biological markers, the work does not feel like a chore to them. It taps directly into their instinctual work drive and problem-solving neural circuits. They don't perform tasks out of robotic obligation. They perform them because completing a learned sequence that stabilizes their human pack leader triggers a massive release of dopamine and oxytocin in their own brain. Now that we understand the neurobiological machinery, Let's explore the first major category of service dogs: medical alert and response dogs. For millions of people living with chronic, unpredictable medical conditions, every single day feels like walking through a minefield without a metal detector. A sudden medical crisis can strike while driving, while sleeping, or while navigating a busy intersection. This is where a medical service dog completely transforms lives. Take Diabetic Alert Dogs, DAD, as a prime example. Diabetes management is often viewed as a simple matter of checking blood sugar monitors, but continuous glucose monitors, CGM, have a notorious lag time. Monitors measure interstitial fluid, which means they can lag behind actual blood glucose levels by 10 to 20 minutes. In a rapid glycemic drop, 15 minutes is the difference between taking a quick glucose tablet and suffering a full loss of consciousness, a seizure, or a diabetic coma. A trained diabetic alert dog doesn't wait for interstitial fluid. They catch the exact minute VOC changes in the handler's breath or sweat as blood glucose drops below safe levels. The dog is trained to perform an undeniable physical interruption: a firm paw nudging the leg, a wet nose poked to the hand, or bringing a specific alert toy. This early warning gives the handler a vital window of time to test their blood, consume fast-acting carbohydrates, and sit down safely before symptoms incapacitate them. Then we have cardiac and POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, alert dogs. POTS causes a person's heart rate to surge drastically upon standing, causing sudden dizziness, fainting, syncope, and severe drop attacks. A cardiac service dog detects the biochemical precursors to these heart rate spikes and blood pressure plummets. When the dog alerts, the handler knows immediately to sit down or lie down flat, preventing catastrophic falls and head trauma. If the handler does lose consciousness, the dog switches into medical response mode. They are trained to perform deep pressure therapy, DPT, to help restore proper blood flow, pull an emergency cord to signal help, press a specialized canine emergency button on a wall, or stand guard over their handler's body in public to prevent bystanders from causing accidental harm until the person regains consciousness. And let's touch on seizure response dogs. While the science of whether dogs can be trained to predict seizures before they happen is still being studied, many dogs naturally pick up on subtle neurological changes, electrical discharge shifts, or prodromal sense hours before an epileptic episode occurs. Even when a dog doesn't alert prior, their response training is invaluable. They lie beside the person to cushion their head, roll them onto their side to keep airways clear, and activate emergency call systems. That isn't just assistance. That is literally preserving human life day in and day out. Let's shatter a massive misconception right now. A psychiatric service dog is not an emotional support animal, ESA. We need to make this distinction crystal clear because the psychology and legal reality are totally different. An emotional support animal provides comfort simply by existing in the house. They require no specialized task training. A psychiatric service dog, on the other hand, is a highly trained working professional trained to perform specific physical tasks to directly mitigate a mental health disability, such as severe post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, clinical panic disorder, major depressive disorder, or severe anxiety. How does a psychiatric service dog work from a psychological and neurological perspective? Let's look at what happens inside a human brain during a PTSD flashback or a panic attack. The amygdala, the brain's alarm system, fires off uncontrollably, flooding the nervous system with adrenaline and cortisol. The prefrontal cortex, which handles logic, rational thought, and spatial awareness, essentially goes dark. The person becomes trapped in a hyperarousal loop: rapid heart rate, shallow breathing, dissociation, and intense fear. A psychiatric service dog acts as an external physical circuit breaker for this neurochemical storm. How? Through highly specific trained tasks. 1. Interruption of repetitive behaviors. When an individual experiencing an anxiety attack begins skin picking, leg bouncing, hair pulling, or head clasping, the service dog recognizes these tactile motion cues. The dog steps in immediately, wedging their snout under the handler's hands, placing heavy paws on their lap, or nudging them relentlessly until the physical loop is broken. 2. Deep pressure therapy (DPT). This is pure physiological science. The dog grounds their physical weight, ranging from 30 to 80 pounds, across specific pressure points on the handler's legs, abdomen, or chest. This firm, calm pressure stimulates the handler's parasympathetic nervous system, PNS, kicking off the production of serotonin and dopamine while suppressing cortisol. It literally slows down a runaway heart rate and forces the human body to exit fight or flight mode. 3. Room scanning and crowd buffering. For combat veterans or survivors of severe trauma, hypervigilance makes entering public spaces a terrifying experience. A PSD can be trained to perform a room scan, entering an empty room or doorway ahead of the handler and sitting down to signal all clear. In crowded places, a dog can execute block and cover commands, positioning their body behind or around the handler to create a physical buffer zone, keeping strangers at a safe distance, and preventing the handler from feeling cornered. Imagine living in a world where dropping your car keys on the ground means being stuck in your driveway until someone walks by, or where opening a heavy door requires immense physical pain. Mobility service dogs are custom-trained physical partners built to eliminate these barriers. Let's look at the mechanical tasks these dogs perform daily. 1. Object retrieval and item management. Mobility dogs are trained in precision soft-mouth retrieval. They can pick up objects as small and thin as a dropped credit card, a coin, or a set of keys, and hand them directly to a handler in a wheelchair or power chair. They are trained to open refrigerator doors using specialized tug ropes, retrieve water bottles, fetch medication bottles, and bring cordless phones during emergencies. 2. Environmental mechanics. Need a door opened or a light switch flipped. These dogs are trained to press automatic door buttons with their noses or paws, pull open heavy interior doors, shut drawers, and press light switches on command. This returns an incredible amount of personal autonomy and daily independence to the handler. 3. Counterbalancing and bracing. For individuals with ambulatory instability, ataxia, or Parkinson's disease, maintaining physical balance while walking is a constant challenge. Harness-trained mobility dogs wear specialized, custom-fitted, rigid leather harnesses. They provide dynamic counterbalance, leaning slightly against the handler to stabilize their gait. If the handler stumbles, the dog locks their legs and braces their entire weight, acting as an anchor to prevent a hard fall. 4. Wheelchair assistance and navigation. While dogs should never pull heavy manual wheelchairs up steep inclines due to orthopedic safety, properly sized and conditioned large breed service dogs can assist manual wheelchair users over flat surfaces, threshold bumps, and long corridors, significantly reducing strain on the handler's shoulders and wrists. Let's transition to a sector of service dog work that is making incredible strides in developmental psychology. Autism service dogs (SSAD). Autism spectrum disorder (ASD) often comes with intense sensory processing differences. Loud noises, flashing fluorescent lights, chaotic environments, and unpredictable public settings can trigger severe sensory overload, meltdowns, or elopement, wandering off. For neurodivergent children and adults, a service dog acts as a grounding anchor and sensory mediator. First, let's discuss elopement prevention. One of the greatest dangers for autistic children is wandering or elopement, suddenly bolting away from parents in public places toward dangerous hazards like bodies of water or busy roads. Autism service dogs can be trained in tethering and tracking systems. If a child attempts to run, the dog senses the tension, anchors down, and acts as a brake, preventing the child from running into traffic. Furthermore, if a child does manage to slip away, these dogs are cross-trained in scent tracking to locate the missing child within minutes. Second, consider tactile and pressure grounding during meltdowns. Sensory overload is not a behavioral temper tantrum. It is an involuntary, agonizing neurological overwhelm. When a child or adult enters sensory overload, an autism service dog will lie across their lap or rest a heavy head on their chest, applying soothing pressure. The continuous, non-judgmental, warm physical presence gives the brain a simple, soothing sensory focal point, helping them regulate back down to baseline. Third, let's look at social bridge building. Autistic individuals often face severe social isolation due to communication barriers. Having a service dog by their side radically shifts public social interactions. Instead of people staring or making assumptions about awkward social behaviors, the presence of a calm, professional service dog turns potential awkwardness into positive, structured interactions. The dog becomes a conversational bridge, boosting social confidence and independence. Now, here on Canine Dog Talk, we never look at dogs as mere biological tools. We always analyze the psychological well-being of the dog. People often ask us, is it fair to make a dog work all day? Don't service dogs miss out on being real dogs? The answer, grounded in behavioral canine psychology, is an emphatic no. In fact, high-drive working breeds are far happier and mentally healthier when they have a job to perform than when they are left couch-bound with zero mental stimulation for 10 hours a day. In modern domestic pet environments, the single biggest cause of behavioral problems, destructive chewing, nuisance barking, separation anxiety, and reactivity, is cognitive boredom. Dogs were selectively bred over thousands of years to work, retrieve, hunt, herd, and solve problems. When a dog undergoes positive reinforcement service training, their brain receives consistent mental stimulation. Operant conditioning using clicker training, marker words, and high-value rewards transforms complex task chains into an enjoyable game for the dog. Think about what a service dog's life actually looks like. 1. Constant bonding. Instead of sitting at home alone all day staring at a blank wall while their owner works an 8-hour shift, a service dog goes everywhere with their handler. They accompany their favorite human to work, restaurants, parks, stores, and travel destinations. They are never isolated from their pack. 2. Brain exercise. Tasks like sniffing out biochemical changes, navigating tight public aisles, ignoring fallen food on the floor, and anticipating human needs keep their prefrontal cortex active and sharp. A 20-minute working session in a challenging store provides more beneficial cognitive fatigue than a 2-hour mindless walk around the neighborhood. 3. Structured play and off-duty freedom. Real service dog handlers understand that when the vest comes off, the dog is 100% a pet. They get fetch time, wild dog park sprints, belly rubs, and pure relaxation. The vest acts as a psychological light switch. Vest on equals game face active. Vest off equals regular goofy dog. The mutualism here is beautiful. The human receives independence, safety, and medical security, while the dog receives purpose, deep companionship, mental engagement, and an unbreakable bond with their primary human. If you or someone you know is considering getting or training a service dog, you need to understand the legal, ethical, and practical landscape. So let's lay out the ground rules clearly. Under federal law, such as the Americans with Disabilities Act (ADA) in the United States, a service dog is defined specifically as a dog that is individually trained to do work or perform tasks for the benefit of an individual with a disability. The disability can be physical, sensory, psychiatric, intellectual, or mental. Here are 3 crucial standards every potential handler must know. 1. Tasks are non-negotiable. To legally qualify as a service dog, the dog must perform specific trained actions that directly assist with the handler's disability. Simply providing comfort, emotional support, or a feeling of safety does not qualify an animal as a service dog under public access laws. 2. Public access demeanor. A true service dog must demonstrate flawless public behavior. They must never bark at strangers, show aggression, sniff merchandise, seek attention from passers-by, or eliminate indoors. They must remain completely neutral to high-distraction environments, including screaming toddlers, dropped food, loud machinery, and other animals. 3. Training commitment. Raising and training a service dog takes anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 years of intensive daily work. It involves public access training, task acquisition, desensitization, and rigorous health checks, including hip and elbow X-rays to ensure they can physically handle working life. It is a massive financial and emotional investment, but for those who need it, the return on investment is priceless independence. And a quick note on ethics. Fake service dogs, people buying cheap online vests for untrained pets just to bring them into grocery stores, do immense harm to legitimate working teams. An untrained pet that barks, reacts, or lunges in public creates public hostility and puts real, working service dogs in physical danger. Respecting the working standard preserves accessibility for those whose lives depend on these incredible animals. To wrap up our deep dive into the body of this episode, let's consolidate the primary reasons why having a service dog is life-changing. Early medical warning, catching cardiac spikes, blood sugar drops, or seizure events before they become life-threatening emergencies. Autonomy and independence, allowing individuals with mobility challenges to navigate the physical world without relying on human caregivers for basic tasks. Neurological and mental stabilization, providing physical grounding, panic interruption, and PTSD nightmare prevention through deep pressure therapy and task intervention. Safety anchor for neurodivergent individuals, preventing dangerous elopement and soothing severe sensory overload in public spaces. 24/7 biological symbiosis, living with a constant, loyal companion whose mind and senses are fine-tuned to keep you safe, secure, and confident every second of the day. And that is the incredible, scientific, and deeply inspiring truth behind why service dogs are so much more than just man's best friend. They are literal lifesavers wrapped in fur. If this video gave you a whole new level of respect for these working dogs, hit that like button right now. It really helps the YouTube algorithm push this educational content to people who need to see it. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you currently working with a service dog, or are you thinking about getting one for yourself or a loved one? What specific task blew your mind the most? Drop your stories and thoughts in the comments down below. I read and reply to as many of you as I can. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to join the Canine Dog Talk pack. We drop deep dive dog psychology, behavioral breakdowns, and training science videos every single week that you do not want to miss. Thank you so much for watching. Keep loving your dogs, respect the vest when you see working teams out in public, and I'll catch you in the next video right here on Canine Dog Talk. Stay awesome, stay curious, and see you next time.